Vale cooking. Today we're going to make fun pizzas for kids. And we're going to do it from scratch. So we're going to make our own dough, and then we're going to put our toppings on and cooking it in the pizza oven, which is our barbecue here today. Alright, so to start with, you need to make sure that you get your yeast working. And today we're going to make 3 pizzas. So it's 2 1/4 cups of lukewarm water, 3 teaspoons of caster sugar, and 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. And I use these packets of yeast, and you need 3 packets of yeast in there. Make sure you get it all out. Right. And then you just get a whisk and give it a stir. Make sure any yeast up on the side there, you try and get it down so it's in the water and is activated, which can be a bit tricky at times. Alright, so you give that a good whisk, and then you just put that to the side and you leave it for about 5 minutes until it starts to bubble. That way you know the yeast is working. And while that's happening, I'll just put that on the sink. We'll sift some flour and get that ready to go. So in this bowl here, I've actually got 5 cups of flour, plain flour, and I'm just going to put it into a sift and sieve it. This just makes the dough a bit lighter for you. So if you don't do this step, you could get a bit of a heavier dough. Now this will make 3 medium crusts, not thick crust, but a little bit more than a thin crust. So if you like a thick crust, you need to increase the amount of flour you put in for that. Alright? Or you just don't make as many pizzas. We're doing this today as a treat for our cameraman's son's final day at school before they go on their Easter break, so we're making them some pizzas for his classroom. Okay, now that's all sifted. We just have to wait for the yeast to work now, and then we'll come back and we will put the dough together. Okay, the yeast is ready now, so now we add, see how it's got a nice little foamy top to it? That's what you're looking for. The yeast has started to activate now. So now you make a little well in the flour that you sifted before. You add your yeast mixture. And I also have 6 tablespoons of olive oil. You add that as well, and then you get a knife and you mix it. Now, making dough is a messy procedure. At some point you've got to get your hands in there and get it all mixed in. If you find that your mixture's still a little bit too moist, because it depends on your flour, all flours are different, they have a different strength to them and everything. You can always add a little bit more plain flour to firm it up. This one is a little bit wet, as you can see, but I'm not going to add any more flour to that, simply because your next step is you have to put the flour out and knead it. So we'll add the flour from there. So just put some flour on your board. I'm putting quite a bit on because I know I'm going to have to add a bit to my dough mixture here. Scrape all that dough out. And then you just start kneading it. And this is where I'm going to incorporate the rest of my flour I need to make this a firmer dough. See how it's still sticky? You don't want it sticking to your hand. So just keep adding dough to it, flour to the dough until you get the firmer dough. little bit more flour yet. It's still a little bit too sticky. In the centre. This can be a bit time consuming, but for the dough that you get, I find it's well worth making your own dough compared to what you get in the shops. But if you're in a hurry, you can always just go and buy a pre-made dough, pizza based dough at the shops. Alright, so that's getting close to what I want, and now you start kneading it. Now you need this to get the yeast to work and to start activating and rising, and to do that you just grab a corner, bend it in, use the heel of your palm, your hand, and you just keep on bending in a circle, turning it around, adding more flour as you need. Alright, and just keep kneading it in. As you can see, it's a bit of a messy procedure, but you'll feel the dough will start to change. You need to do it for about 3 to 5 minutes, just depending on your dough and your yeast and everything. It's not an exact science on how long you do it. You'll start feeling a resistance in the dough. That's when you know, and it gets an elastic look to it. As you can see now, it's already started to change. It's a smoother look, and it's starting to get firmer. And the dough's stretchy. They're all the things you're looking for when you're making your pizza dough. Alright, that's almost ready. It's very firm. You can see that I'm needing to press it harder now, and it's springing back as I do it. So that's a sign that you've got what you need. I'll just give it another couple of goes. Alright, roll it into a ball, and then you get a big container. I like to use a metal one, and then spray it with a little bit of olive oil. Put your dough in the middle, cover it with a clean tea towel. Okay, so you put it in the middle, cover it with a clean tea towel, set it aside for, depending on the temperature on the day, anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes. It should, pardon me, it should double in size, and then it's ready to be kneaded again and rolled out to make pizzas with. So we'll be back when that's ready to go. Okay, we're back. You can see the pizza dough is more than doubled in size, so now you just got to knead it back down again. So just give it a hit, all the air will go out, and you just a little bit of flour, not as much as before because you're not needing to add flour this time, and just give it another knead. Right. So just make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom here. So just give it another quick knead. This is a recipe my family's used for many a year. I come from a large family, as anybody who's read my bio and knows me. So pizzas were always a good cheap food to make, and this is a recipe that my father handed down. He was a baker and taught me how to make this. And the fun bit is in putting all the toppings on, you get to have fun just doing what you want. Right, so that's ready to go. It's been knocked back down. And I'm going to divide that into 3 amounts. Put some fresh flour down. Run it out into a disc. Now, this is where I put down a piece of greaseproof paper. The reason I do this is sometimes it's a bit tricky getting it up, and I'm going to be putting these onto a pizza stone later, and it can be a bit tricky sliding them on. So what I've found, if I roll it out onto the greaseproof paper and then put it onto a chopping board, I can slide it onto a pizza stone without it sticking and going all funny on me. So So just keep moving it around, and you can roll it out to whatever desired thickness you want it to be and whatever size pizza you want it to be. I'm going to leave mine a little bit thicker than I normally would today, simply because we are doing it for a kids' party. They tend to like their pizza bases a little bit thicker than I do. Alright. So, and of course with any homemade pizza you're never going to get a perfectly round shape, and that's the whole idea. I just trim the ends up now because you don't want all that excess paper there. It's just for ease. I don't like going to the trouble of making a pizza and then having it all slide and stretch and go funny on me. So I'll just put this one over here on a chopping board, and we'll come back and put the filling on after I've rolled a second pizza. Alright, so now we're up to actually the fun bit, which is a good job to do with the kids, and that is putting the toppings on. I just start with a spoonful of tomato pizza sauce, and just spread it out. And then I put a small sprinkling of pizza cheese on the bottom. And one of our pizzas is just going to be a basil and pancetta. So sprinkling of some basil over the pizza. And then some slices of pancetta over the top of that. And the other one is a simple ham and pineapple. And I use crushed pineapple, but you can use slices if you want. And then I just top it with a little bit more cheese. The amount of cheese you put on depends on you and how cheesy you like your pizzas. But you need enough to get a nice stretchy cheese when you cut it. There we go. These are now ready. I'll just put a little bit more on that pineapple one, I think. These are now ready to go into the barbecue onto the pizza stone. So we'll take them out there and we'll get them set up out there ready to cook. Okay, so we've got a barbecue here, and we've actually bought a kit that will turn it into a pizza oven for us. So I've heated the stones up. Be very careful, they get hot, so make sure you're using tea towels, gloves, whatever. And then all I'm going to do is just slide them on, and this is where that greaseproof paper comes in handy. I'll just grab my second one. Slide them on, put it back in again. And then it's just a matter of being very careful with the stones and putting them in. Now, because we have only a small barbecue, we can only cook two at once, because if I try and put a third one on there, the lid won't shut for me. Alright, good. Now you leave them for about 15-20 minutes. Just check once the bases are cooked and the toppings are melted and heated through, it's ready to go. So we'll be back when that's ready. Okay, that's the finished pizza out of the pizza oven, nicely cooked, fluffy, ready to go. And you just grab it and cut it down into whatever size you want. Thanks for watching Vale Cooking today. I hope you enjoyed our pizzas and what we showed you and the fun we had. And if you want any more information, check out the links below for the recipes. Thank you.
you.